Hi, welcome to this webinar. I'm Matt Reed, web design and digital marketing expert, and I'm here today to show you a new tool. You obviously subscribed to my webinar to watch this, but a new tool that's going to help your retail business or your e-commerce business sell more online. Now, this tool is, as I said, used by so many people worldwide. Probably yourself, you've used it once before. But so many retailers don't use it, and that's probably why you're watching this video. And if you have heard of it and you are using it already, that's fantastic, but I'm pretty sure you probably won't be. So what I'm going to do is show you, we're going to walk through it today real briefly, but show you exactly how to set this up and get it going within your business. So what is the tool, you're asking? So I'm going to tell you what that tool is, and the tool is Google Shopping Ads. Now, you might have heard of it before, you might have not heard of it before, it might be totally new to you. If it's new to you, well then that's great. If you already know it, that's good, but are you using it? So the best way to explain Google Shopping Ads is when you search for something you want to buy. Maybe it's some new shoes or some clothing, or it's a new laptop, whatever it might be. Depending on what you're actually searching for, Google will show you these shopping ads. Now, the main thing about the shopping ads that make them different to anything else is they actually show people on Google what the product is, how much it is, whether you do free shipping or not, and also the name of your shop. So the conventional search result on Google is just a headline and some text. Now, as you may know, humans think in pictures. If I tell you to think of your television or your car, you don't think of the word car, you think of your car as a picture. So people correlate to things and see things as pictures. Therefore, if I'm searching for a new case for my smartphone, or if I'm searching for a new tablet, for example, I have a picture in my head of what I'm looking for. If I search for a new shirt perhaps I want to buy, I sort of can see it straight away and it relates to me. It's not text that I have to read. So let's just give you an example of this. So if we go to my computer screen here, we've got our Nike ad up here. Now in the top band corner here, you'll see this is a Nike ad for Nike shoes. This is a conventional text ad, what's called a search ad. It's just text, just like the rest of these results here. Now, they're not necessarily that exciting. It's just text. And people like things quick and smart. They don't like to read a lot of things. So the interesting stat I read about this a while ago, this tool here, is that these account for, I think it was around 80% of sales online. So that's a massive amount. So it's no doubt that shopping ads are great. And obviously, if you haven't already realized, these are shopping ads. If you just simply look at this page, what gets your attention? It's these. These are the Nike shoes that I'm searching for. If I search for, let's just say I like my polo shirts, Lacoste polos. Look, again, we've got shopping ads right at the top. You know, I might go, cool, that's exactly what I want right there. Or this place looks like they've got the style I want. Oh, do they have a different color? I can click on it and I can see the different options available. So it's there visually for them to see. So obviously you're going to click on that first before you start scrolling through the rest of the page. So another thing you've got to remember with shopping ads is they are up the top. They are the first thing you see. If you're on your phone, if you're on your computer, they're the first thing you see when the page loads. So you're going to go there and click on it. If you advertise general Google ads, which you might be doing already, you'll see that they're still sort of text-based and they don't stand out as much, and they aren't any better off, so to speak, than these search ads over on these shopping ads on the right-hand side here. Anyway, enough yapping on. Let's get into it. So what we need to do is basically a bit of a process we have to go through to get this going. I'm going to show you how to do it. We're going to need to use Google Tag Manager. We're going to need to use Google Shopping Ads or Google Ads. We're also going to need to use Google Merchant Center. And obviously your website too needs to be an e-commerce website, and it needs to have a built-in plugin or tool which can give Google the catalog of your products in a simple format. And usually that's in a CSV file or a CSV file, text file. So I'm going to show you how to do that. So if you're using something like WordPress, Shopify, there's usually plugins or features you can turn on that allow you to get that feed and plug it into Google. So today I'm going to show you it in Zulu, which is my personal software for my web page. So I'm going to go and log into my account here. If you've got WordPress, log into your WordPress account. If you've got Shopify, log into your Shopify account. And what I want you to do is I want you to go through and get that feed URL. And in my case here, it's on my computer. If I go to Zulu and I go down to settings down the bottom left-hand corner here. So if I want to go and add this, I'll go to, on Zulu obviously, we're going to go to website. And we're going to go to site settings and we're going to go to miscellaneous tab. Now on the miscellaneous tab, as you can see here, I've got my merchant center feed. So we're just going to keep that here. We're going to have it open and we're just going to use it later on. We don't necessarily need it right now. Now, a few little quick prerequisites that you guys need to bear in mind. Each of your products needs to have a brand on it. So your product needs to have a brand name. So you might be selling Nike shoes, you might be selling Apple products, you might be selling your own branded products, and that's fine. You just need to have a brand name for it. And you also need to have a barcode number, an EAN barcode, which is, I believe, about 13 characters long. So whenever you buy a product, generally the box will have I'm just going to see if I have an example here. The box will generally have a barcode on it. Even if I show you this product here, for example, you'll see here it's got a barcode down the bottom here. And that barcode is important because Google needs that to sort of identify what the product is. So that's just two little things that most people don't actually have, but you need to have it on the product. Obviously, description, title, price, whether it's in stock or not, that's also required. But that's basically the stuff that you might not already have, so you need to put that on there if you don't already. So if we go back to my screen here, we've got our feed URL. That's great. Now what you need to do is I want you to open up two websites. I want you to open up tagmanager.google.com. I want you to open up AdWords or ads.google.com. Open up those two web pages. We're going to be working off those. Oh, and another one is merchants.google.com. So open up those two tabs and those three tabs, sorry, and that'll get us started for now. But basically, these are going to be the three tools we're going to be working in today. So we've got our feed URL there, that's great. So the first thing we're going to do on this whole setup is create our Merchant Center account. So we want to create a Merchant Center account for our business, for your business. So this is where we upload our feed and we tell Google what products we've got, and they tell us if there's any errors with the products. So if you look on the screen here, the green means these products are approved, and the little red bar at the bottom means that there's some disapproved items. And disapproved items might be because they don't have a price on them, or they have a misformed title or a malformed title. They don't have a good enough description. You've just got to make sure all those things add up and look right. So if we go to Merchant Center, let's say I'm signed out. What you obviously need with this is a Google account. So if you have a Gmail already, that's great. You need to log into the Gmail, but basically I want you to log into your Google account. So this is if I'm starting from scratch. So once we've logged into our Merchant Center account, you'll need to set up a new account obviously on there. So I'm just going to go on my one. I've got a setup so I can create multiple accounts for different businesses. But your one, you'll probably have just an introduction screen asking you to get started. And I believe it's the same as once I click this button here. So if I go under here, we want to give our store a name. So what's the name of our store? In this case, I'm just going to call my store Matt Reed. My website's www.mattreed.co.nz. Cool. Go save. And it's created my account. So if I click onto it, your process will be slightly different to what I've just done, but just follow the guides and then you should end up on a page basically like this. So what we need to do is we need to claim that the website that we're asking for is actually ours. So click fix it and let's claim this. Okay, so what we can do is we can verify via a HTML file. Now you can do this in whatever way you please. But what we're going to do now is jump over to Tag Manager. So we've got our merchant account there with nothing in it. It's just sitting there basically empty at the moment. What we're going to do now is jump onto Tag Manager. And I'm going to go and create an account in Tag Manager. So again, just log into Google, log into Tag Manager, and you should come to a page like this. So if you go to the admin tab up the top here, this is under my other company name. What we can do is add a container into our system here. So click the little plus icon and put in the container name. So I might just call this one Matt Reed. And this is a website. So I'll click web, click create. And what we're going to do now is put this tag manager code onto our website. So this requires a little bit of understanding or skill, I guess, around adding this sort of stuff to your web page. Hopefully you sort of can pick up on where to do it. If you use a web developer already, then get them to help you with this. It is actually fundamentally really easy, but I'm going to show you today in our Zulu program here. So all you've got to do is copy that goes in the header tag. So if you're using Zulu as well, we're going to go to template settings. We're going to go to scripts. We're going to paste in the head script. Going to go back to Tag Manager, copy this one, put it inside the body script, click save. Cool. So that's all done. Now what we can do is push OK. Great. So now what you can actually do now is you actually need to test. We don't have to test, but you should just check and make sure the code's actually installed properly and working. So I'll show you on my screen here. I'll show you in Chrome. So if you go to Chrome, there's a tag assistant you can download onto your computer that helps you check this is installed correctly. So what I want you to do is you can just simply Google it if you don't have it already. Google tag assistant, download, and you'll see here it comes up as a download in Chrome. If you click on it, you can install it in Chrome, but I've already got it, so it's showing me that I can remove it, which I don't want to do. So that's there. If we go now to the website, if I go to my Matt Reed website, it'll bring up my page, and in the top right hand corner here, I can click on the little tag assistant, which is this little blue sort of tag button icon. Click enable, and then just simply refresh the page again. Cool. Now if I click onto it, I've got this tag manager code coming up here. And I've also got another error. You shouldn't have this. This is just because I've duplicated mine, obviously. But you should have a green check light saying Google Tag Manager in that list somewhere, and that means that you've done it properly and that you're good to go. So if it's not showing, if it's sort of saying there's nothing there, hasn't found any tags, you need to check that you've installed that tag properly. Again, you might have to use a web developer for that. Cool. So I'll cancel out of that. Now I will go to, so I've got that in there, that's great, that's all sorted. So we've got our tag manager implemented in our website, and I'm just going to go back to site settings and just check. I'll take that out there. And once we have done that, then we're sort of making progress. Cool. So just ignore that step, guys. I was just adding a note for myself. Cool. So we've got that in there. So we've got our merchant center set up. We've got our tag manager set up as well. So now what we can do is we can also go into Google Ads and create our ad account. So what we're going to actually do first though is go back to Merchant Center and link our Merchant Center with our tag manager. Get those two linked. And then the third part is Google Ads, and they'll all three link together nicely. So I'm going to go back to Merchant Center. I'm going to scroll down to Google Tag Manager down the bottom here. I want you to click it. I now want you to click Verify URL. Now if we've done this correct, it should sort of auto-verify straight away. Yep, that's great, so it's done that. Cool. So we're all hooked in there then, that's great. Click off that. And what we'll do is we'll actually hook our feed in right now too. So what we'll do is we've linked our tag manager and merchant center together. Now what we're going to do is tell Google about our product feed. So going back to merchant center here, I want you to go down to products. I want you to go to feeds, and I want you to add your feed in. So click the plus button on the primary feed. Now what I want you to do is select the country of sale. You might be in New Zealand as well, or you might be overseas. Just leave the rest of that, continue. And now what we want to do is use a scheduled fetch. So click scheduled fetch, give the feed a name. In this case, I usually just call it website product import. Click continue, and then the file name is where we're going to put in the name of our files, and I usually just call it products.csv. It doesn't really have to be a specific name, so to speak, but that's just generally what I call it. Products.csv. We want it to fetch generally daily at 12 AM, that's fine. You can set your time zone. In my case here, it's actually on the wrong time zone, so I'm going to go and change my time zone to be the correct time. I'm going to go and select Auckland. There it is, click it, cool. Now our file URL is where we're going to paste that link from your WordPress or Zulu or Squarespace or Shopify, whatever you're using. Paste that link, your Google Merchant Center feed link. So if I go back to my website tab here, I've gone out of it obviously, I've got to go bring it back up again. That was under site settings, miscellaneous. Here's my feed. I'm going to copy that, go back to Merchant Center, paste it in the file URL, click continue. Oops, I've got a little bit of a gap there, that's why it's not working. Continue, there we go. So that's basically now setting up the feed from my website to Google Merchant Center. So I don't have to go and type in or load in my catalog of products in Google. Don't have to do that. It's all automated. Every day it pulls all the stuff. So if you go and change a price, for example, tonight, tomorrow at 12 AM, midnight tomorrow morning, Google will pull that latest price so that you're not sort of false advertising. For example, if you put something on special, you don't want to have to log into Google Merchant Center and change the price. Google automatically looks at your website, goes, oh, okay, Matt's changed the price. We'll better update our one. So that when someone Googles it tomorrow morning and they find your product, the price is accurate. It's not out of date. So, go back here. We've got our feed loaded in, and I'm going to click on my feed name just to check. And you'll see here that it's processing. So usually I just click fetch now anyway, and it fetches it, which basically means Google's getting the current product feed. Now I've got a feeling my product feed's empty at the moment because I haven't put in a barcode on these products. But let's just go and have a look. So if I go back to my screen here, go to my products tab in Zulu, all products, books. You'll see here that I've got my 2 book products listed. Now, the first one's got a barcode on it already, which is great. The second one doesn't, so I need to make sure I add that in. But if I click edit, I've got my ISBN number there. That's cool. So that, in theory, is also a valid EAN barcode. So I can go to Zulu and I can go to other options and set my UPC EAN barcode to that, which it already is. And I can also set my brand as well. So I might just call this Matt Reed Digital Marketing. Let's actually just leave it as Matt Reed. Easier, simple, cool. So I've now done that. So that's going to get me going in the meantime. So what we want to do is we just want to wait for Google to process our feed, and when they process our feed, then we can actually see what they've imported from it, and obviously we can check that everything's working, and they'll tell you if anything's sort of not correct or that needs to be changed, so it is properly working in the right manner. So I'm just bringing up this here. If we go back so you can see my screen, What we also need to do is actually set a currency. We also need to set a currency on our feed. So if I click onto my feed again, I had no products listed in there. So since I've just added that brand in, my products will now come up. So I'm just going to reprocess the feed. I'm going to fetch it again, because as you can see here, it says 0 items found. But in the meantime, let's just set our actual shipping information and tax information too. So you can go and set things like free shipping. So if you click the little plus icon, you can put in, for example, free shipping or flat rate shipping. In my case, I offer flat rate shipping, so I might just go and remind myself what I'm actually charging for my shipping. In this case, it's $4 or $8. That's for New Zealand. Okay, 1 to 5 business days. I can go add a shipping rate name, so it might be NZ wide. And that is $4. Continue. I can also add another shipping option to that as well. We've got our 2 options in there, cool. We just want to go to the tax tab and check that's all correct. Make sure that we've got that set up properly. Don't configure tax, so you can skip that or you can set that up if you want. If we go to products and business information, there's lots of things you can set in here as well. So you can set your website, your business display name. I might call mine Matt Reed Consultant, and save that, and my business address. Ideally, if you can, set as much of this as possible, because it just sort of helps make your account more legitimate. I'll put my address in, so I'll put my office address in here. Oh, 9204401. It'll obviously tell you if anything's incorrect, but it looks like I've got everything the right way around. And we go to website, that's verified. Go to branding, so we can upload our logo here. So what you do need to do is upload a logo file. So you need a square logo and a rectangle logo. So if you are lucky enough to have a software like Photoshop, you can use Photoshop to create your square logo, or you can go and use an online tool as well, which can make it a little bit easier for you. So if I bring up Photoshop, what I can do here is I can make a new tab. I'm going to make a square logo. Now, if you're lost here, guys, if you're not sure what to do, what I suggest is using a tool, an online tool. Google image cropping tool or image manipulation tool, because there's a lot of online tools that you can use for free that help you do this a lot easier. So I suggest you try that. So I swap it back over to my screen here, and what I want to do is I want to put in my logo here. So I'm showing you this in Photoshop, so if you don't have it, again I say just go and Google a tool to use. Just close my window here so the wind doesn't get on the microphone. So I've got my logo in there. I might just scale it up. Google is quite fussy about how that logo appears, so you need to make sure that it appears it's big and easy to read in that format, because if it's too small then they'll disapprove it. So I've put that in there. I'm just going to save that for my website now as a, call it Matt Square, and then I can also crop it down to a conventional landscape logo, and I'll call it Matt Long. Now what I'm going to do is go back to Merchant Center, and I'm going to upload the logos. So once you've resized them into the right formats, go ahead and upload them. So I'm uploading mine here. Let's make sure we've got it correct. Cool, that one's fine. Now look, they don't like my second one. I haven't done this in a few weeks, so you've got to make sure that the ratio is 2 to 1. Okay, so we need to make sure that basically the image size is 2 to 1. So if it's 800 pixels wide, then it needs to be, it's a bit of math here, it needs to be 400 pixels high. So if we go back to Photoshop, if I go to image and then canvas size, and then I go to pixels, what is the minimum size? It's 1000 by 500. So I'll go and change mine to 1000 by 500. And I'll go and select all, and I'll fill it with white so it doesn't look as horrible as it does right at this moment. Cool. Now, as you can see, my logo is still a little small, so I might want to go and get a higher resolution version of that to put in here. So if I just go and bring that up now, I'll go and find my logo, and yeah, so you've got to make sure these are the right size, guys, otherwise you're going to have issues when you're doing this. Make sure that your graphic designer has given you the correct size files, or the correct high resolution files that you can use to help do this properly, because otherwise, if you're like me, you might have the wrong size and wrong format, and you've got to go look for it like I'm doing right at this point in time. So let's just go and find those. So if you're on your computer at the moment, you might be doing the same thing. So let's just have a look for this. Cool. Cool, so I've found a slightly better version that I can use in this instance. So I've got that in there now. I'll save that. Matt Long, 1000 by 500. If I go back into Merchant Center, we'll upload that now. So it's a little bit of toing and froing sometimes, even though I do this quite often. It's quite a process, so obviously even if you're this far into it, well done. But yeah, let's continue. So that's worked now, great. So these are under review, so usually in a couple of days you'll get a response from Google saying, yeah, it's all approved, or your text is too small, or your logos, might be the wrong size or something like that. So you can go and set that through here. So back in the Merchant Center, we've got that done. Now what I want you to do is go back to the Products tab, and we'll just see if our diagnostics has brought up any changes. If I go to my list, usually it will tell you what products you've got. Sorry, feeds. List feeds, they all seem the same to me. Go to my feeds tab, cool, here we go, last uploaded 1713, yep, cool. So if we look here, one item with one issue. So that was obviously, you see here back under my products tab, I've got the one product. If I go to my books, I've got that product there ready to go, but it's missing a product and a currency. Oh, and that was something I was going to show you. So if I go to settings up the top here, what I want you to do is I want you to go to default currency, and I want you to set the default currency to your currency. Save that. Daily fetch, cool, perfect. Processing, so I'm going to go back to the processing tab. I'm going to fetch it again. So click fetch now again. And on my one, I might just change this URL as well. Mine's set to the main system here, which you won't have, obviously. They said So you got to go through these diagnostics a little carefully and just check, but they said one of my URLs wasn't matching what I'd signed up with, which I hadn't, so I've done that now. We'll refetch it. Cool. So while that's refetching, let's get on to the last step. Let's get on to setting up our Google Ads account and linking that with Merchant Center. Okay, so if we go to our Google Ads tab, I want you to log into your Google Ads account. So I want you to log into Google Ads under your Gmail, just like you've done for the other two programs. Log in under your Gmail account. You need them all on the same email address ideally, because it saves a whole lot of linking hassles. But yeah, go to your Google Ads account, and what we're going to do is we're going to go to a tab that allows us to link our ads account with our Merchant Center and Tag Manager account. So I've just got to sign back in here, so just bear with me a second. So if you haven't already, make sure you sign up for an ads account. Make sure you sign up for a Google Ads account. So you possibly won't have one yet. Make sure you don't sign up for a AdWords Express account. Just sign up for the general Google Ads account. That used to be called, I've been doing this for years and it's always been called AdWords, and they just renamed it several months ago. So I keep calling it Google AdWords still, even though that's not what it is. So I'll create my account here, I'll jump right into it, and we can get started. Since I manage so many other companies' ads for them, my account's just slightly different to your one probably is. But if I go here, you'll have like a blank page, you'll have your overview and your campaigns and your settings and stuff like that. So what we want to do is we want to first off link in our Merchant Center into our Google Ads here. So the process of doing that is linked accounts. So I click on linked accounts. You'll see here you've got a lot of different options. So you can link in things like analytics, Google Play, Google Merchant Center. Oh yeah, that's what we want, Google Merchant Center. So we click on details. We can send a link request from Google Merchant Center. Great. So once we send a request, then in Google Ads here we can approve the request, and then it'll connect. And then it takes usually a few minutes just for it to sort of all finish syncing over. So go back to Merchant Center, and then what we can do up in the top corner here is actually back on opportunities, I think it was. We had the option to actually, it told us that we still had to sort of verify part of our account. It's not bringing that up, obviously. Where is it? Yeah, account issue, sorry, that's what it was there. So basically this is telling us that we need to link our Google Ads account to our Merchant Center account. So if we go in the top right hand corner here, if you can see on my screen, there's these three little buttons. Click on that, and then what I want you to do is click on the account linking button here. Now this is where we link it up. So what I want you to do is, this one here is preloading for me my main ads management account. So we're just going to skip that. You'll probably have nothing coming up at the moment. So what I want you to do is, it says other Google Ads accounts. Click the little link account button. So we're going to link an account, and then it says Google Ads customer ID. So now you need to put in your Google Ads customer ID, and you're probably saying, what's that? Well, if you go back into Google Ads, you can see here in the top corner, I've got a Google Ads account number, 379-247-3325. So I'll highlight and copy that. I'll then go to Merchant Center, and I'll paste that in here. So don't paste my one, obviously. Make sure you paste your own account. So the one that you've created, you'll have a unique customer number that you can link in there. So once you've done that, click on Send Link Request. Oh, actually, sorry. You've got to be careful. Look, I've copied it and pasted it, and mine's got a space at the start. Get rid of that. That's better. Now we'll do it. Cool. So it's sent the request, and now my Google Ads is pending confirmation. So if I go back to Google Ads, and I click done, and I click on details again, it probably won't be there. I've probably got to go to, if I remember correct, go back out to linked accounts, which I'm already on. You might just need to give it a good refresh. Let's go to business data and just go back and refresh again. Linked accounts. Okay, it's still obviously waiting. I might just give it a good old hard refresh, because usually you'll have a little notification pop up that means you can go and link it all up, get it all finished off. Details again. Looks more promising now, maybe. There we go, that's better. Give it a good refresh, saves you time. So once you see that coming up in there, it's telling us that we've got an account pending linkage. So click view details, and then you'll see here it's got another little pop-up just to approve or reject. Now obviously you're going to want to approve it, so click approve in the corner, providing that that is your Merchant Center account. No random person's chucked their one onto your account. Cool. It's linked it in, that's great. So what we've done now is we've linked our Google Merchant Center account in. Now what we can do is, what we're going to do shortly is actually create a campaign with our product on it. So if we go back to Merchant Center again, what we can now do is go back out of here, back to our feeds tab, go to our website product import, cool, okay. So if you see here now, processing, 1 item counted, 0 items with issues. Now, in this instance, in this example, I've only uploaded 1 product. So make sure, you might have 1 product as well, or you might have, one of my clients has just over 1,000 products. So you might, the more products you've got, the more likely you're going to have issues. So you're going to have some products that are missing, or they have a malformed title, like the price is 0 and it should be something. So you're going to have to go and do a bit of tidying up. But at least in this example, we've got 1 working. We can then progress further forward now. So we've got that coming in, and obviously over time, you'll be able to look back at these logs and see what's coming in and what's approved and what's not, and then obviously fix any products that aren't, because if they've got issues, they're not going to show up on Google when someone searches for them. Cool. So I've done that, that's great. Now your list on here usually takes a while to show any results, so you might have to give it a few hours before you actually see stuff coming up in here. But for now, that gets you started there. And you can also see data like I showed you before about how many products have been approved. But again, it's all, unfortunately, a thing that takes a bit of time. It's not straight away. So now what we can do is get on to the final step of this. So we have set up our tag manager. We've set up our tag manager. We've set up our Merchant Center. We've linked our Google Ads with the Merchant Center. So the tag manager plugs into the website. The Merchant Center plugs onto the tag manager, and the Google Ads plugs onto the actual plugs on top of the Merchant Center, and the Google Ads is the part where we set up the actual advertising that will show up to people. Now, Tag Manager is a program that is quite advanced, and what it allows you to do is use what's called conversions. So conversions mean that if someone clicks on one of your product ads, you can track, okay, I've spent $100 this month and I've had 2 conversions. Now, a conversion for you could be they've purchased online, they've filled in an inquiry form, they've clicked on and called you. That's considered a conversion. So if you get 100 clicks and you get 10 sales means 10 conversions. Now, in this webinar, I haven't showed you, and I'm not showing you how to set up conversions. So at the end of the day, you're not necessarily going to know exactly how many people have come from your shopping ads. So if you want to set that up, you can do that yourself. So just a quick interruption, guys. If you're at the stage and you're thinking this is just too over the top, too over my head, I'm not sure where to go, rest assured we can do this for you. I can do this for you. If you want to make use of this and get this done properly first time round and it's all sorted, then we can help. Normally I charge my clients just under $1,000, $999 to set this up. But in this webinar, I'm making you the special offer that if you act today and have us set this up for you, you'll just pay $499. That's a one-off fee. It's under your account. We set the whole lot up for you and you're good to go. Now, on top of this, I'm offering also 2 extra bonuses. We'll set up conversion tracking and remarketing for you. Now, we've just done the Google Ads side of it. What you can do is set up remarketing. Now, remarketing is where if someone visits your website, they leave, they get distracted, they come back the day later, they'll start seeing your ads, your products on other websites that they are browsing. So what I'm getting at here is you can basically get this set up for free as part of the package. So in this video, we're showing you how to set up the shopping ads on Google. But I'm here to also offer you the free extra bonus of we'll set up remarketing ads so that if someone leaves, they come back again, you get a second chance. Most companies don't do this, so someone gets distracted, they leave, they totally forget they were looking at that website. Whereas we'll set it up for you so that you get a second chance and you'll start popping up again in front of that customer. You've had it before, you've looked at a product online and you've started seeing that company showing up everywhere on your Facebook feed, on different websites. That's what we will set up for you too. Now, as part of that second, we'll set up conversion tracking. So as a result of setting this tool up yourself, or us setting it up for you, you can actually see the return you're getting from it. How many sales am I getting? How many phone calls am I getting? What's the actual return? If you've spent $100 in a month, how many sales have I gotten? Have I gotten 5 sales? Have I gotten 10 sales? Have I gotten 20 sales? Well, how many sales have I gotten from it? Then you can measure the results. Again, those 2 features alone, we normally charge around $400 each for. But as part of this package, we are offering it to you for just $499. Usually we sell the overall package together combined as the 3 modules for $1,500, but those 2 individual freebies by themselves are worth $400 each. So $499 and you get all 3 options in there. So if you're feeling unsure, then get in touch with us and we can help do this for you so you don't have to worry about the intricacies of setting this up. It is a limited time offer. I have limited time, obviously. I'm happy to offer this to 10 clients per month, 10 new customers per month. So if you do want to try this, please get in touch. Enjoy the rest of the webinar. So if you want to set up a little bit more tracking, you can do conversions as well. And that's where Google Tag Manager really comes into play. So on Tag Manager here, we've got our tags empty at the moment. We don't actually have to set up anything on Tag Manager. We just want to use it for if we're going to plug in conversions or if we want to do what's called remarketing. So remarketing is another thing that I'm going to offer you if you'd like me to help you set this up for you. So if you've come this far and you want some more help, I'm happy to help you with this. Otherwise, there's some great resources online showing you how to do this further. But again, I want to keep this webinar short and simple and not go too over the top, showing you all these different things you can set up, because it's better to start with the basics and improve as you go. But you can set up remarketing. What remarketing is, just quickly, is if someone visits your website, and you've probably had this happen before and thought it was coincidence, but if someone visits your website and looks around, a few days later you might be looking on the internet and you start seeing that company you were looking at popping up everywhere. That's called remarketing. So Tag Manager basically houses a little bit of tracking code, you could say, that when you visit a website and that's set up, it knows the other websites you're looking at, and people get a bit worried about it and scared about it, but personally I don't think it's a big thing to worry about. It's just simply advertising, it's just business. But those ads will start coming up for that business website that you were looking at days before. And what's great about Merchant Center, about the Google Merchant Center product feed, is people can actually see a product. So if they went and viewed a product on your website and it was a specific product, they'll start seeing that exact product, not your business as a whole, not your shop overall, but that actual product on other pages throughout the internet. So it's reminding them, the customer, oh yeah, I looked at that last night and I had to go and have my baby was crying, or the the stove was overheating, or whatever it might have been. I got distracted. People get distracted. So the good thing about remarketing is that when that person has time and they come back to it, they might go, actually, yeah, I forgot about that. I need to buy that. Now click on that remarketing ad and bang, you've got another sale. Whereas if you don't do remarketing, then once they've gone, they've gone. And most people, unfortunately, in their busy lives, forget to check up on those sorts of things and remind them, oh, I've got to go and look. Oh, I was looking at that product. I'll go and have a look again. So make sure you have that in place. And yeah, I'm not here to sell to you, but obviously I do have an option where I set this all up for you to save you the hassle. So if you're doing this yourself, it's fantastic to get started. But if you do want some extra help, I'm here to help you as well. Obviously, I love to add value, and I'm doing this for free. This webinar specifically for free, just to show you how to do the basics yourself and get started. But if you're sort of unsure about where to go next, then that's where I'm here to help. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to our Google Ads account back where we were before. And we're going to close out of where we were. And we're just going to go back to our campaigns tab. Now, our campaigns tab, if you haven't used Google Ads before, you probably haven't, you can go to the search bar at the top right here. So go to the go-to and you can type in campaigns. You can type in billing. You can type in keywords, whatever it might be. But we're just doing the basics here. So let's go and set up what's called a campaign. Now, a campaign in Google Ads basically means what are we advertising? A specific subject. So if you're totally unrelated, if you're an insurance provider, you might have a campaign for car insurance. You might have a campaign for house insurance. Now, in this case, we're just creating one campaign, and that's called our catalog shopping ads campaign. So click the little blue plus, click new campaign, and what we're going to do now is we're going to click sales. We want to get sales on our website, don't we? Then we're going to click shopping. Now, if we scroll further down, what you'll see here now is that we've got a little box here saying select the Merchant Center account with products to advertise in this campaign. Now, this ideally will be populating automatically now with your Merchant Center account we just linked up. Now, if it's still saying that there's no accounts found, just give it some more time because it can take a while to load, and just check the connections there and it's definitely approved. But you should see that popping up down here. Cool. Select the countries where the products are sold. So I want you to put in your country that you're selling them in, so New Zealand. Now, when you saw that before, New Zealand, it says no products. Now, obviously, that takes time for Google to sort of provision all this information across their networks and their different platforms. So while it says no products, we actually do have one product, as we saw just before, set up. So I've got that selected. I'm going to go down to continue. Enter a campaign name. So again, I'm just going to call that, I might just call that even shopping ads. Shopping ads for Matt Reed's books. Now, furthermore to this, and you can research more about this yourself, but you can also limit what products show up for what campaign. So you might do a campaign that's targeted to a specific demographic, even like men or women, or an age group. You could set products that are relevant to that age group or target demographic specifically, so you're not just showing everything, because you might have products for young, old, male, female. Therefore, you don't want to show all of your male products to your female products, if that makes sense. So once we've done that, we can then set a bid. We can do manual cost per click, or we can do maximize clicks. Sometimes I like to use manual cost per click, but if you're unsure, just use maximize clicks and set a maximum cost per click bid limit. So basically, how that works is when someone clicks on your ad, when someone clicks on your shopping ad on Google search results, like I showed you at the start of the video, you get charged a fee. And usually that can range from as little as less than 10 cents up to a couple of dollars. Now, shopping ads are real affordable, in my opinion, over, my experience, I should say, over search ads. So just to remind you again, let's just recap. If I go back, I'm searching for Nike shoes. You'll see in the right hand side here we've got our shopping ads, we've got our search ads, and then down here we've also got our general organic text ads. So these ones are ads that are just are showing up for free, so they're not charged. If you can come up in there, that's great, but most of the time you might be paying for advertising on Google Ads. So again, we've got our ad there, our shopping ads. So what I like to do is set a maximum cost per click limit. It's a little too difficult in this video for me to sort of tell you what numbers you should put in there, but usually I just like to work on $1. But what I do is I put $1.01. You could put $1, but it's likely a lot of other people put $1 in. So put $1.01. That means you're bidding 1 cent above someone else, so it means you'll come just 1 cent above the rest of the people that bid for $1. So I'll put in $1.01, a little bit of a tip there for you, and then just set a daily budget. I usually like to set my budget to $10 a day. Now, $10 a day, you might think, oh Matt, that's a lot of money, but yes it is. But depending on the demand for your product, how many people search for your product, and the size of your catalog, you might find some days you get no clicks at all. So while your budget is $10, you might only have 1 click and it might have cost you $1. You might have had 2 clicks and they cost you 40 cents each, depending on the cost per click rate. So don't worry about it too much, but obviously put it to where you're comfortable, because if you do spend $10 a day, then that is $300 a month. So you might want to set it to $5 a day. I just generally don't like to put it too low though, because the lower your budget, the less chance and less times you will show up in searches. If you're selling Nike shoes and it's a highly demanded product and there's thousands of people searching for it every day, and you've got a budget of $3, let's say that's 3 clicks, then Google's going to only show you up every now and then. They're not really going to show you up too much, because if they showed you up every time, then by even 1 a.m. in the morning, you've run out of your $3 budget. Whereas if your budget's $10, you'll be staggered out the day. You'll show up a little more often. If your budget's $100, you might be showing up every single time. So just set it to what you're comfortable with. Sometimes I like just to set it a little bit higher and just see how I go for the first few days. Am I getting good clicks? Great. Am I getting sales from it? That's great. Okay, well, I'll keep it going. Or I've had a few clicks, or I haven't had many clicks, and many purchases, and I've spent a bit of money. Oh, I might just pull it back a little bit and just regulate it for now. At the end of the day, what you got to remember is, if Google Shopping Ads gets you $1,000 of sales in a week, let's say you make $1,000, and it's cost you $50, is that worth it? That's what you got to ask yourself. Most cases, I'm sure, if I said to you, give me $50 and I'll give you $1,000 of sales, then it's well worth it. Just like in the video before you signed up, I have one of my clients who uses shopping ads who had an income last year of one of their months was just under $5,000, and then in October it was just over $32,000 thanks to these Google shopping ads. You've got to really think, okay, well, if I'm spending this money and I'm getting the sales, it's worth it. Whereas, if you want, at the end of the day, you got to spend money to make money, in my opinion, to a certain extent. Spend it smartly, but you got to spend money to make money. Anyway, I'm blabbering on. Let's keep working through this. So I've set the max cost per click bid to $1.01. I've set the budget to $10. Now if I scroll down, I can also set it to display on the search network, and that can be that's Google Search Partners. So there's some search engines that use Google's sort of basic system to show show results and ads. So your ads might show up on other sites other than google.com. So if you're happy with that, just leave that ticked, or you can untick it. I usually leave it ticked. At the end of the day, for search ads, I usually change my mind, but we're not talking about that in this webinar, so we're just going to leave that. I'm going to leave it ticked. You can also set how it shows up on what devices, and you can also again set the country and even the city, so you can sort of limit it to a certain area too. Now I can set my end date, but I'm just going to leave it as not set. I'm going to click Save and Continue. Now you can see here, you can select whether it displays as a product shopping ad or a showcase shopping. I usually just leave it set to product shopping. And then you can add an ad group name as well. I'm just going to call it books. Save. And my campaign is added. Great, so we've done it. We've set the whole thing up. We've set up our tag manager, which we haven't really used yet, but if you want to set up conversion tracking, you want to set up remarketing, you want to set up an audience, you can do that. Now, if you want to set up Merchant Center, you can do that too. You can set up another feed, for example. So if you have sort of two ranges of products, for example, you can add a separate feed in. And again, you can filter in your ad campaigns what products show up, just like I showed you before. So if we just go back and we click on our campaign we just created, up in the top left hand corner here, shopping ads for Matt Reed's books, you'll see here all products are showing. If I go down to here to location, I can change the locations or I can exclude locations, so you get a little bit more control. You can also set ad schedules. So this is just a little few bonus things for you guys. You can set ad schedules, so you might want your ads only showing between a certain time or on a certain day. Generally though, I just say just don't touch them initially. See what people are doing. If you find that most of your customers are buying in the evening, then what you could do is show your ads only in the evening. If you find you're getting a lot of clicks during the day and none of those clicks are actually turning into sales, then you could sort of just push those or lower them down a little bit and focus on those ones that are converting. Same goes with people on phones. If most people are buying from you they're on their cell phone, you can target them more than people on their computers. If you find that a certain age group or gender is buying your products more than the other, you can what's called a bid adjust. Use a bid adjustment. So you can say this age group, that I'm going to sort of take their cost or their spend, their sort of budget. I'm trying to think of a better word to say it. You can sort of lower the importance, probably is a good way to put it, using a bid adjustment by 50%. So you could say this is 50%, this is 100%, or this is 200%. I really want to target this group of people. So you can control all that through this panel here. You've also got the devices tab again down here. So again, as you can see, computers, mobile phones, tablets. You might not want your ads showing up to people on mobile phones, so you could click that and you could change the bid adjustment and you could decrease it 100%. Or you might want to really push people on cell phones, so you could increase it by 100% and type that in. But you just got to be careful. Obviously, if you have a bid for a keyword of $1, if you increase that specific device by 200%, then you're saying, I'm happy to spend $2 per click. And if I just run through a few other bits for you guys, you've got audiences as well. Now, audiences, this tab here is where you can actually use remarketing even further. You can properly set up remarketing. So when you set up a conversion audience, when you set up a website visiting audience, so using Tag Manager, we put some code on the website that tracks the people who visit your website so you can remarket to them like I spoke about before. You can link them into this campaign here. So usually what you do is you set up a campaign for people who have visited your website already, and you set up a campaign for people that are searching for your products on Google searches. So just checking over that again, we've got that set up. So what you can do now, what I like to do is after a day or so, when Google sort of worked out and approved your products, just remember they have to approve not only your logos like we uploaded before, they have to also approve your products. So once they're approved, then they'll start showing up in Google search results. And what I normally do is I just normally search the name of the product that I'm selling. So I might search Matt Reed Unraveling the Web, which is the book I've written. Now, at the moment, that's not showing up in here, but basically after a few days, if you have a check back, you should see your products starting to show up in search results. So just come back and forth and you can see if they're coming up and where they're coming up. If I just show you an example here. This is actually one of the products I sell, and I showed you the barcode before for it. But these pens here, these marker pens, this is another company I have, and at the moment they are coming up in search results. So if I search wine pens and I'm in New Zealand, my product comes up in these results with the nice image, the price, my company name, and they're first on the list. And the reason they're first on the list is because I've put a higher bid in, so I get first choice. Now obviously it alternates as well. If I refresh the page, I might cycle around, or I might disappear sometimes. But because my bid's pretty good, you can see I'm coming up actually quite consistently. Anyway, going back to my offer. If you're not sure, if you're sort of overwhelmed by this, or you're stuck at a certain step, flick me a message. I'm happy to give you a quick hand. But if you want a full setup, if you want this just set up and implemented for you, ready to go, if you use WordPress, Shopify, whatever it might be, we offer a package where we help you set this up in your business and get yourself on Google Ads, get yourself on Google, get your products on Google, and get you showing up. Even if you double your sales, I talked about the company before, they went from just under 5 to over 32 grand. Even if it was double or even half of that, any increase in sales is more profit, more revenue, more profit for your business. So what I'm doing is, if you've listened to the offer before, I'm offering you a setup where you pay just a flat fee of $499, and we set this up for you. So as I've told you, I've got experience in this. I've set this up for many companies, and many have had great results from it. But to save you the hassle of doing this yourself, I can set this up for you. And furthermore, what I'm offering you is the option also that I'll set up for free conversion tracking and remarketing. So you can see how many people are buying based on these shopping ads. And you can also see how many people are buying from your remarketing ads, and furthermore, we'll set up the remarketing ads for you. So if Joe Blogs comes to your website, looks at the product you're selling, gets distracted, leaves, comes back to the internet the day after and he's looking around, he'll start seeing your product in his search results, your product on the news website, whatever he might look through, your products will start showing up, which means you've got a second chance. You've got a second chance at showing up again in front of him. So I'm going to give that to you as a little package, a little free extra that I normally charge again more money for. Normally the merchant center stuff alone I charge just under $1,000. I charge $999 for. So not only are you getting that for half price, I'm also giving you conversion tracking, and on top of that, remarketing, all in the one fee. So really you're saving over $1,000. It's a $499 investment. It's a one-off. I'll set it up on your Google Ads account. So once it's set up, you can have full control. I'm not linked into it, so to speak. I just get it going for you and go from there. And even if you need help furthermore, we can help you definitely optimizing and further getting more results and benefits out of your system. But at the end of the day, my goal is to help you increase your sales, because if I can help you increase your sales using tools like this and other tools I know about, then it also helps me, and it makes me feel great about what I do, because I like helping businesses grow online. So I hope you found that webinar interesting. I hope you got some value from it. And at the end of the day, all I ask is you try it, you action it. If you haven't already followed the steps with me, go back, watch it again and implement it. It's no use knowing how to do these things. You need to use it. You don't get results without using something. So if you want me to give you a hand, that offer below, it's a limited offer. I'm busy, I don't have time to be doing lots of these, so I'm generally limiting it to only 10 customers at any one stage per month. But if you do want that free extra bonus, then please sign up ASAP so that I can lock that in for you and get that scheduled so we can get you up on Google Shopping ads ASAP, and meaning you can start increasing your sales sooner. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that, and join me again next time, and I'll talk to you later.